Hey, we'll get started in a few minutes. I'm still getting set up. So just find your space, find some props to use.
100%.
If you have blocks or anything that resembles a block, have that available. You want to grab like two towels, maybe a blanket, something that resembles a strap or a belt. If you can't hear me, let me know. We're going to get started in about 2 minutes. Oh, as I kick my cat. All right, welcome. Okay, so again, make sure you just have some props available. This is a beginner's class, so it's always good to use some sort of props in a beginner's class. Again, not needed, not necessary, so if you don't have them, that's fine. But some good props to have at home if you are continuing your practice at home is to have a couple blocks. You can use books. You can use empty like tissue boxes. Anything that resembles a block will do. You're going to have bath towels, like big-ish bath towels like so. Usually 1 or 2 of those are good. And then just to introduce you to another prop that I personally love is I call them yoga blankets, but they're just like Mexican, blankets. So you can get these online very easily. Winnie absolutely loves these blankets, by the way. She lays on them all the time. She's probably gonna lay down on it. So you can buy these online. They're really good for restorative. So if we in the future maybe have a restorative practice through Facebook Live or Zoom, it's good to have these blankets, and they're really warm, really heavy and comfortable. So you can always grab these and have some at home. 2, 3 are always good to have for a restorative practice. Winnie absolutely loves these blankets for some reason. I don't know why, but she loves them. All right, we're going to get started. I think we're going to do some hip opening. I know after sitting at my desk all day, a hip opener is really needed for me. I hope it is for you as well. If you have any questions after the live class, feel free to message me or leave a comment, and I'll message you. If you have anything that you need to work on, message me, and I will incorporate that into our next class. All right, so let's get started, and let's go ahead and just lie down. So let's start lying down. Winnie, let's lie down. So go ahead and lie down on your backs and just have your legs down, arms down by your sides. If you feel uncomfortable, you can bend your knees, feet on the floor, knees into touch is another option. And just find stillness in your body. And just breathe normally through your nose. And just focus on the breath as it comes in and out. Bringing your attention to the tip of your nose, where the air comes in and where the air comes out. And then very slowly start to deepen your breathing. Taking a long, slow, deep inhalation, followed by a long, slow, deep exhalation. And on each inhale, just starting to get a little bit deeper, filling your body up with air on each inhale. And then making your exhale as even as your inhale. And take a deep breath in through your nose and breathe out. Take a deep breath in and breathe out completely. And then breathe in through your nose for kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One more. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And return to normal breathing. And then on your next inhale, I want you to do a morning stretch. So you're going to point your toes, reach your toes forward, and then reach your arms behind you. And then reach your fingertips behind you as you reach your feet and toes forward. Doing a nice stretch. Good. And then on your exhale, draw everything in. So hold on to your shins, knees drawing in toward your chest. And if you want to just sway side to side, you can. Good. And then on your next inhale, do another morning stretch. This time, interlace your fingers and flip your palms behind you, reaching out from your wrist and then reaching out through your toes. And then exhale, draw everything in. Good. From here, extend your left leg down to the floor and flex your left foot. Draw your right knee in towards your chest. Good. Press down into your left thigh with your straight leg. Keep your left heel pressing forward and then start to take your right knee, draw it toward your right armpit. Good. And then just do gentle circles with your right knee. So just making circles with your knee. Just lubricating those joints. Okay, and then go the opposite direction. Okay, and then come to the center. Take your right knee to the right armpit again. This time, do a half happy baby pose. So you're going to hold on to the outer edge of your right foot. If you can't reach it, or if it's just really stressful, you can hold on behind your right knee. If that's really stressful, you can bend your left knee and place your left foot on the floor. Both hip bones, both hips are pressing down into the floor. You can also put your left hand on your left hip just to make sure that you're thinking about your left hip going down towards the floor and not lifting up. Flex your left foot. Right foot is parallel to the ceiling. And then inhale, draw your right knee in. Draw your left knee in. And exhale, extend your right leg down to the floor. Flex your right foot, draw your left knee in toward your chest. Think about your right toes pointing up towards the ceiling as you press your right thigh down. And then just start to draw your left knee toward your left armpit. And then slowly start to make circles with your left knee. And then switch directions, go the other direction. And then pause in the center. And then take your left knee, bring it toward your left armpit. Take a half happy baby pose on this side. So again, grabbing the outer edge of your foot behind your thigh. Right or left foot is parallel to the ceiling. If that's too stressful, you can bend your right knee, place your right foot on the floor. Right hand can be down by your side, or it can be just resting on your right hip. Kind of as a reminder to make sure that your right hip is pressing down as evenly as your left. And then inhale, draw your left knee into your chest. Draw your right knee in. Good. Grab on behind your knees. And then I want you to rock yourself forwards and backwards 3 times. So rock yourself forwards and backwards 3 times. On your third rock forward, come right to tabletop. It's fun. I think so, at least. If that's too stressful for you, just roll over to one side next time and press yourself up. So your knees are underneath your hip bones. And then untuck your toes and press down to the tops of your feet. Your arms are in one line, so look down at your arms. Make sure your wrist, elbow, shoulders line up. Spread your fingers. Press your hands down into the floor and lift your chest away from the floor. So you're pressing your hands down, so instead of your chest kind of sinking down, think about your chest lifting up and away. And then just a very slight bend in your elbows. You're really not bending them, but it's just so much so that you're not locking your elbows out. Good. Press down to the tops of your feet and your shins. And then your next inhale, start to drop your chest towards the floor. Lengthen your ribcage forward. Look up for cow pose. Tailbone lifting up. And then press the floor away. On your exhale, round your spine. Look towards your belly button for cat pose. Tailbone lengthening down. Inhale, lift up. Lengthen, look up. Try to go slow. And take your entire exhale to round. One more time. Inhale, lift up. Lengthen, look up. Tailbone lengthens back, then lifts up. Gaze up. And then take your entire exhale to round. Tailbone lengthens down, then starts to tuck under. Then pause here for a moment. Really press the floor away. Lift up. And then inhale, come back up to a neutral tabletop position. Exhale to child's pose. Hips to heels, arms out in front of you, elbows resting on the floor. You can place your forehead on the floor, or if that's uncomfortable, you can place your forehead on a block to lift it up a little bit. Whatever feels good. If you don't have a block, you can use a towel folded. On your next inhale, look to your hands and make sure your hands and arms are shoulder distance apart. Press your hands down and lift your elbows up away from the floor. And on your next inhale, lift yourself up to tabletop. On your exhale, step your right foot back, come into like a half plank. So your right leg is straight. So to get your right leg really straight, think about pressing your front thigh into your back thigh. Quadricep into your hamstring. Keep lifting your chest away from the floor. Good. And then inhale, lift your right leg up a couple inches off the floor. On your next inhale, I want you to turn your leg out from the hip socket. So you're turning your leg out from the hip socket, your toes start to point out, and then bend your knee, bring your knee in towards your right elbow. Use your core, and then inhale, extend your leg back, bring your toes to point down, and then exhale, bring your right knee down to the floor. Inhale, step your left foot back. So in the ball of your left foot, same thing. Left leg is straight, so you're pressing your left thigh up towards the ceiling. Press your heel back. Lengthen your tailbone towards your left heel. And your next inhale, lift your left leg up a couple inches. Keep your toes pointing down for now. Lift your chest up. Okay, and then your exhale, turn your leg out from the hip socket so your toes point out, and then draw your left knee towards your left elbow. Good. Use your core to get your knee up there. Lift up away from the floor. Inhale, extend your leg back. Toes point down. Exhale, bring your knee to the floor. Good. Tuck your toes under. Press your hands down. Lift your chest up. And then your next exhale, you're going to lift your knees up and come back to downward facing dog. So your tailbone lifts all the way up towards the ceiling. But keep your knees bent and keep your heels lifted up. Press your hands down. Lift your arms away from the floor. So you're lifting through your elbows, through your shoulders, all the way up through your tailbone. On your next inhale, slowly walk your hands back to your feet. Try to put more of the weight in your feet than your hands. Walk your hands all the way back. Keep a slight bend in your knee. Inhale, lift up halfway. Place your hands on your shins or your upper thighs, whichever is easier. Draw your upper arms in, lengthen your ribcage forward, and then exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift up halfway again, shins or upper thighs. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach your arms out to the sides and over your head, reaching your fingertips up. Good. Exhale, hands down by your sides. Walk to the top of your mat, coming into Tadasana Mountain Pose. So feet are hip bone distance apart. You're just having a slight bend in your knee. If you notice, my knees are bent right now, but you don't even know that they're bent. So it's called like a micro bend. So you're just putting a very slight bend in your knees, lifting your kneecaps up toward your hip bones, lengthening your tailbone down. So when I say lengthen your tailbone down, instead of your tailbone sticking out like so, or, tucking under like so, you're taking the middle of that, all right? So you're taking your tailbone and lengthening it towards the floor, whether you're naturally in this kind of position or in this kind of position, you're finding that middle, okay? So lengthening your tailbone towards the floor. Lift your sides of your waist. So feel yourself lifting up from the sides. Roll your shoulders back. Flip your palms forward. And then reach up from the crown of your head. Good. Make sure your toes are pointing forward. And then your next inhale, reach your arms in front of you and over your head, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, sit down to chair pose, Utkatasana. So same thing with your tailbone. You don't want it sticking back, and you don't want it really tucking so far under. You're lengthening it towards the floor, feeling the space in your lower back. Drawing your upper arms under, keep breathing. Press down into your heels. And then exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Slight bend in your knee. Inhale, lift up, halfway lengthen. Exhale, step your left foot back, come into a lunge. Try to get your foot back pretty far. So you're in a long lunge. And then bring your left knee to the floor. So your left knee is behind your hip. Okay, it's not under it. If you feel any stress or discomfort in your left knee, this is where those towels or blankets come in. You can slide one underneath of your left knee, okay? Move your right foot over to the right 1 or 2 times. That's your front leg. Make sure your right knee is in line with your ankle, okay? You can keep your back toes tucked under if that feels better, or untuck your toes and really press down into the top of your left foot, and that will actually relieve a little bit of pressure in your left knee. Inhale, come onto your fingertips, look up. Keep lengthening your tailbone down and think about your hip bone scooping up. So that way you're not like going into your hip joint. You can also put blocks under your hands here. This is very helpful. Okay, both put your hands on blocks. Good. Keep pressing down into the top of your left foot. Press down into your right foot. Inhale, reach your arms up towards the ceiling. Lift up about 1 inch. So that way you're not sinking down into your hip. Lift up. Press down into your right heel. And again, think about your hip bone scooping up toward your bottom ribs. Keep breathing. Good. This time, go ahead and shift your weight forward. Really stretch into your left hip. And then bring your hands down to frame your right foot. Tuck your back toes under, lift your back leg up so you're back in that lunge. Step your left foot forward to meet your right foot. Inhale, lift up, halfway lengthen. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach your arms out to the sides and over your head, reach your fingertips up. Exhale, sit down to chair pose, Utkatasana. So you can go as deep into this as you want to. You can sit down pretty far or don't go down as far, okay? But if you are going down and bending your knees, look down at your feet. You should see your toes and then shift your weight back. So you press down into your heels. You should feel more of the weight in your heels. And pretend like you're holding a block between your hands. Keep breathing. You got this. For 3, 2, 1. Exhale, fold over. Inhale, lift up, halfway lengthen. And exhale, step your right foot back. And again, you want to be in a longish stance. You don't want it to be too short so your hips are sticking up. And you don't want to be so long that your hips are sinking down, okay? Press your right thigh up and then bring your right knee to the floor. And again, you can always slide a towel or blanket underneath of your right knee if it's causing you any stress. Move your left foot to the left 1 or 2 times. Left knee in line with your left ankle. And then inhale, come up onto your fingertips, look up. Same thing, you can use blocks under your hands to give you a little bit of a lift. You can untuck your right toes, press down into your right foot. That actually is really good for your knee, kind of relieves a little bit of the pressure on your knee. Lift your chest. Do less weighing down in your fingertips. Scoop your hip bones up towards your rib cage. Inhale, reach your arms up towards the ceiling. Press down into your left foot. Lift up about 1 inch so that way you're not sinking down into your left hip. Keep breathing. Good, and then exhale, go ahead and sink down, really feeling the stretch in your front right hip. And then exhale, place your hands on the frame of your left foot. Tuck your back toes under. Lift your right leg up off the floor. Slowly, gently, step your right foot forward to meet your left foot. Inhale, lift up, halfway lengthen, hands on your shins. So you don't want to have a roundy spine here. So if you feel your spine rounding, think about lengthening your torso forward, especially from your lower spine. Then exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach your arms in front of you and over your head, reach your fingertips up. And then exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, lift up, halfway lengthen. Exhale, step your left foot back, come into that lunge again. Spin your back heel down to the floor. Okay, so your back foot is on the floor completely. And then bring your back toes in slightly. So your back foot is pointed at an angle. Keep your right knee bent. Keep drawing your right hip under. And inhale up to warrior 2. Spinning your arms up and around. Sinking down into your right knee. Pressing your left thigh back. Good. Reaching your fingertips away from each other so your arms are in one straight line. And then think about pressing down to the outer edge of your left foot, it's your back foot. Sink down into your right knee, but don't let your knee go past your ankle. Lift up from your torso. Relax your shoulders. And then think about drawing your right buttock, okay? So draw your right buttock under you and press your inner right thigh to the right. That's going to keep your knee going straight. On your next inhale, flip your front palm. Come to reverse warrior. So reach your right arm up, then start to reach it back. Keeping length. Keeping your arms straight. Sink down a little more to your right knee. Keep pressing your inner right thigh to the right. Exhale, come up to warrior 2. Inhale, straighten your front leg. Reach your arms up. Breathe in. And exhale, warrior 2. Inhale, straighten, reach your arms up. And exhale, warrior 2. Inhale, stay here. And then exhale, place your hands on the frame of your right foot. Step your right foot back, so you're in a plank. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Keeping a slight bend in your knees. Heels lifted. Pressing the floor away with your hands, reaching your arms away from the floor. Keep lifting your tailbone really high up. On your next inhale, slowly come forward to plank and pause. You can move your feet back a little bit. Drop your knees right where they are, so they should be behind your hips. Draw your upper arms in. So think about your elbows starting to point back and then slowly lower down to the floor. Okay, and then untuck your toes. Look back at your hands and walk your hands back so your wrists and elbows line up. And then bring your chin to the floor or your forehead, either one. Separate your legs so they're about hip bone distance apart, and then really press down to the tops of your feet so your kneecaps lift up off the floor. And press down into all 10 toenails. So from your big toenail to your small toenail, press all of them down. And then draw your upper arms in. And on your next inhale, lengthen your chest forward before you lift, and then lift your chest up for baby cobra. Exhale, release, come down. Inhale, lift up, baby cobra again. Think about pressing your shoulder blades slightly towards each other. And exhale, release, come down. One more time. Inhale, lift up, baby cobra. And exhale, release, come down. Good. Inhale, press yourself up to tabletop. And then tuck your toes under and exhale, lift your hips up and back to downward facing dog. On your next inhale, look to your hands, keeping your knees bent. Slowly walk your feet up to your hands. However you want to get there. Make sure your feet are hip bone distance apart though. Then inhale, lift up, halfway lengthen, Ardha Uttanasana. And exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, reach your arms in front of you and over your head, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, lift up, halfway lengthen. Exhale, place your hands down, step your right foot back, come back into your lunge. Spin your back heel down to the floor. So your back foot is completely on the floor. Bring your back toes in slightly so your foot's at an angle. Left knee is still bent. Drawing your left hip under you. Pressing down into your feet as you inhale, windmill your arms up and around. Coming into warrior two, Virabhadrasana 2. Press your right thigh back. Okay, so your right leg is straight. Sinking down into your left knee, but not letting go past your ankle. Reaching your fingertips away from each other. So a lot of people tend to leave their arms kind of limp. Yeah, they want to be invited to this party too. So really reach your fingertips away from each other and then gaze over your front middle finger. Relax your shoulders. I see a lot of this too. So relax your shoulders. Sink down a little bit more. Good. Scoop your hip bones up toward your bottom ribs. Keep drawing your left buttock under. Press your inner left thigh to the left. Flip your front palm. Inhale to reverse warrior. Lift your left arm up, then reach it back. And your front leg, either it does two things. It tends to lift up a little bit. It also caves in a little bit. So 1, sink down a little bit more. 2, press your inner left thigh to the left. And just keep breathing. Good. Exhale, slowly come back up to warrior 2. Straighten your front leg, reach your arms up, breathe in. And exhale, warrior 2. Inhale, straighten, reach your arms up. And exhale, warrior 2. Inhale, stay here. And then exhale, bring your hands down to frame your left foot. Step your left foot back so you're in a plank position. Lengthen your tailbone toward your heels. And then exhale, lift your hips up and back to downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Bent knees, lifting your tailbone up. So a lot of people round their upper spine because they want to straighten their legs. It's more important for you to have a nice long spine than it is for your legs to be straight. So a slight bend is very normal and sometimes very good. Keep breathing. And then the next inhale, slowly come forward to plank. Move your feet back if you need to. Drop your knees right where they are. This time, draw your upper arms under so your elbows point back. Shift your weight forward so your shoulders come past your wrists, then lower down to the floor. Try to go slowly and don't crash down. Okay, and then walk your hands back so your wrists and elbows line up. Untuck your toes. Inhale, lift your chest up, baby cobra. And exhale, release, come down. Inhale, lift up, baby cobra. Draw your upper arms in. Look right past the edge of your mat. Press onto all 10 toenails. And exhale, release, come down. One more time. Inhale, lift up, baby cobra. And exhale, release, come down. Good. Bring your arms down by your sides. Legs are still straight. And turn your palms so they're pointing in towards each other. Reach your fingertips back. Press down into your feet. And on your next inhale, lift your head, neck, and chest up off the floor. And then inhale, lift your arms up a couple inches, reaching your fingertips back. Option 1, stay here. Option 2, lift your feet up a couple inches, toes reaching back. Tops of your feet are still pointing down, so don't let your feet turn out. Keep the tops of your feet pointing down. Lift up a little bit higher. Then exhale, slowly come down. Turn one cheek to one side. If you want to give your hips a little wiggle, you can. And then find stillness. Bend your elbows, place your hands by your shoulders. Slowly press yourself up to tabletop. Tuck your toes under and exhale, lift your hips up and back to downward facing dog. Your next inhale, look to your hands. Slowly walk your feet up to your hands. Inhale, lift up, halfway lengthen, hands on shins. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach your arms up over your head, reaching your fingertips up. Exhale, side bend to your right. So right arm comes down, left arm reaches up and then reaches over. Inhale, come to the center. Exhale, side bend to your left. Inhale, come back up to the center. And exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, lift up, halfway lengthen. Exhale, step your right foot back, so you're in a lunge. Option to have blocks under your hands. Move your left foot to the left 1 or 2 times. Keep pressing your right thigh up towards the ceiling. Firm your outer hips in, so you're really firming your body in. Come up onto your fingertips, look up. So whether your hands are on blocks or not, just come onto your fingertips. And then what you're going to do from here is really press down into your feet. Bring your hands to your hips, elbows point up. Lengthening your ribcage forward as you lift your torso. Bending your right knee. Sinking down into your left knee. So my right knee is slightly bent, so I can lengthen my tailbone towards the floor, then lift my torso. Good, and then inhale, reach your arms up, breathe in. Good, inhale, straighten both your legs. And exhale, lunge. Inhale, straighten. And exhale, lunge. One more time, inhale, straighten. And exhale, lunge. Good, inhale, snap your fingers 1 time. And then exhale, place your hands on the frame of your left foot. Step your left foot back so you're in a plank. And exhale, downward facing dog. Okay, so this next thing you might need some blocks, okay? We'll assess as we go. So let's just go back to your feet first. So slowly walk your hands back to your feet. And then inhale, lift up, halfway lengthen. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach your arms up over your head, reach your fingertips up. And exhale, hands down by your sides. So have blocks nearby if you need them. We're going to go into a squat. And we're going to do a couple of things from the squat position. So blocks can be really good here if needed. I'll show you how you can use them. If you have a hip issue or a knee issue that you need to go into a squat position, just don't go down as far, okay? This is fine too. This is a squat, right? So what I want you to do is separate your feet so that they are like the width of your mat and your toes are pointing out slightly. Lengthen your tailbone down. Good, and we're gonna get into this super easy. So option 1 is to have your blocks behind you, okay, like so at the lowest height. And then everyone just bring your hands to the floor and start to bend your knees. Flick your tailbone back. So instead of your tailbone going towards the floor, think about your tailbone going back, pressing your outer hips in, and then coming down, whether it's sitting on your blocks or coming down towards the floor. And then if you are on your blocks or on the floor, just bring your arms to your inner thighs and bring your hands together to heart center. If you're up higher, just bring your hands together to heart center, lengthen your tailbone down, okay, like so. So wherever you are. Heels should be on the floor. So if your heels are not on the floor, you can make your stance a little bit wider, turn your feet out a little bit more, or really focus on flicking your tailbone back so you can find that space to come down a little bit more. Again, if that causes pain, sit on blocks or just sit up a little bit higher and don't come down as far. Press your arms into your legs, press your legs back into your arms, and then really lift your chest up. So you're lifting your torso, pressing your shoulder blades together at the same time. If you don't squat every day, that is my challenge for you, is to find a time during the day where you squat, whether it's for a minute or for 5 minutes. Do some squats because they're really, really good for you and we don't do them enough. Okay, from here, I'm going to turn this way. Turn so that way you are long ways on your mat like I am, so you can stand up and readjust or just turn yourself. And then what you're going to do is you're going to place your hands down to the floor and lift your tailbone up, but keep your knees slightly bent. And then go ahead and parallel your feet towards each other. And then what you're going to do is start to heel toe your feet out so you are in a wide-ish type of stance. Okay, it doesn't have to be world's widest. That's fine. Okay. And then from here, you can keep your hands on the floor. You can always put your hands on blocks as well. But you're going to come into a side lunge. So you're going to come down to your right side. So your right knee is bent. Left foot can be on the floor. If you want a little bit more of a challenge, you're going to flip your toes up towards the ceiling. If you want even more of a challenge, you're going to try to balance and bring your hands together to heart center. Okay? If you're doing this, I'm assuming you have a yoga practice. You can keep your hands here as we transition from side to side. Okay, otherwise, just keep your hands on the floor. And then slowly, you're going to start to walk your hands towards the other side, shifting your weight to your left side. So long, right foot on the floor, or flip your right toes up. Good, and then slowly go to your right side. Maybe your hands are heart center and you're balancing. And switch. Again, you don't have to be down this far either. You can be up here doing it as well. Okay, so same thing. If you're in a higher squat, you're just going here instead. Okay, and then switch one more time. Go to the other side. And switch. Tailbone leaning back, torso forward, toes down or up. Good. Okay, and then from here, come back to the center. So you're in like a forward fold. So hands are on the floor or hands are on your blocks, like so. Okay, if you can't go to the floor, that's completely fine. Either one. Here for a moment. And then think about your feet being parallel to each other and put more of the weight into the outer edge of your feet. And again, your hands are on your blocks or on the floor, lengthening your torso forward. Shift your weight slightly forward so you're more on the balls of your feet. Good, and then from here, come up onto your fingertips and then start to heel toe your feet in so they're hip bone distance apart. Good, inhale, lift up, halfway lengthen. And exhale, forward fold. This time, inhale, slowly roll yourself up. So press down into your feet, slight bend in your knees, slowly rolling up one vertebrae at a time. Your head is the last thing to come up. Good. All right, and then come back to the tops of your mat. into Tadasana Mountain Pose. Lengthen your tailbone down towards the floor. Inhale, reach your arms up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, lift up, halfway lengthen, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, step your right foot back, come into your lunge. Stay here. Spin your back heel down to the floor, bring your back toes in. Sink down into your left knee. Draw your outer left hip under. And then come up onto your fingertips, look up. And then from here, reach your arms in front of you and over your head for Warrior One, Virabhadrasana One. Sinking down into your left knee, pressing your right thigh back. So your right toes are pointing up towards the front corner of your mat. Rib cage squaring towards the front. Reaching your fingertips up. Keep breathing. And then exhale, place your hands on the frame. Your left foot, flip your right heel up towards the ceiling. Then step your left foot back to plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Look to your hands. Slowly walk your hands to your feet to your hands. Sorry, feet to hands. I thought one thing, I did the other. Inhale, come up onto your fingertips, look up. Exhale, forward fold. Place your hands on the floor. Step your left foot back. Come into a lunge. Move your right foot to the right 1 or 2 times. Press your left thigh up towards the ceiling. Again, you can always put your hands on blocks. Very helpful here, okay? Come up onto your fingertips wherever they are, floor or blocks. Press your outer hips in. Lift your torso. Lengthen it forward. Place your hands on your hips, elbows point up. Keep lengthening your torso forward as you lift your torso up. Good. Bend your left knee a couple inches. That's just so you can lengthen your tailbone down. Lift up from the side of your waist. Sink down into your right knee. Don't let it go past your ankle. And then inhale, reach your arms up for a high lunge. Press down into the heel of your right foot, your front foot. Keep breathing. And next inhale, straighten both legs. Lengthen your tailbone down. And exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. And exhale, bend. One more time. Inhale, straighten. And exhale, bend. Inhale, snap your fingers 2 times. And then exhale, place your hands under frame your right foot. Step your right foot back, turn to plank. Drop your knees down to the floor right where they are. Pause as Winnie crosses me. Draw your upper arms under, slowly lower all the way down to the floor. Okay, and then from here, bring your arms down by your sides. Have your palms pointing down towards the floor. Press the tops of your feet down. And then on your next inhale, lengthen your chest forward first. Lift your head, neck, and chest up off the floor. Lengthen your tailbone towards your heels. Look right past the edge of your mat. Keep your palms on the floor, but still draw your shoulders back. And think about your shoulder blades drawing towards one another. Keep breathing. Good, and then exhale, slowly lower down. Okay, this time, bring your arms out into a cactus shape. So your elbows are bent. So your elbows and shoulders line up and your elbows and wrists line up. Okay, kind of like a field goal. Okay, and then you're going to take your right knee and slide it up so it's in line with your right hip and your knee and ankle are in one line. So it's kind of like a half a field goal. So it looks like this. Okay, just pause here for a moment. Think about relaxing your right hip into the floor. So it's not like lifting up. Relax it down into the floor. Okay, so we're going to do a couple of things here. So what you're going to do is on your inhale, you're going to think about lifting your right foot up off the floor. And then exhaling, putting it down. Okay? Inhale, lift your right foot up. It might not come up very high. That's fine. Flex your right foot and exhale, put it down. Inhale, lift it up. And exhale, put it down. One more time. Inhale, lift it up. And exhale, put it down. Slowly straighten your right leg back down to meet your left. Switching sides, bend your left knee, slide your left knee up. So your left knee is in line with your left hip and your knee is in line with your ankle. And then think about your left knee relaxing towards the floor. You don't need to necessarily push it down, but just relax it down. Don't force it to stay up. And if this is stressful, you don't have to come up as high, okay? Chin to the mat. You can put your forehead on the mat or you can turn your cheek to one side. It doesn't really matter, whichever feels more comfortable for you. Arms are relaxing, in your field goal shape. On your next inhale, slowly start to lift your left foot up off the floor, but keep your knee down. Flex your left foot. Good. Exhale, release, come down. Inhale, lift up. And again, you might not come up very high, and that's fine. And exhale, come down. Inhale, lift up. And exhale, come down. One more time. Inhale, lift up your foot alone. Leave your left knee down. And exhale, release it down. Slowly straighten your left leg down to meet your right leg. Bend your elbows. Place your hands by your shoulders. Slowly press yourself up to tabletop. Tuck your toes under and exhale, lift your hips up and back to downward facing dog. Your next inhale, look to your hands. Walk your feet back to your hands. Inhale, lift up, halfway lengthen. Exhale, forward fold. Place your hands on the floor. Step your left foot back, come into a lunge. Spin your back heel down to the floor. Bring your back toes in slightly. So your back foot is flat on the floor, toes pointing up towards the front corner of your mat. Right knee bent. And then inhale, slowly reach your arms up. Coming into warrior one, Virabhadrasana one. Okay, so press your left thigh back. A lot of people like to bend their back knee. So think about straightening your back leg. Press your thigh back. Put more weight into the outer edge of your left foot. Reach your arms up. Rib cage squared towards the front. Draw your upper arms under. Sink down into your right knee. Don't let it go past your ankle though. Keep breathing. And then exhale, place your hands under, frame your right foot. Spin your left heel up towards the ceiling. Step your right foot back. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Taking a few breaths here. You can always go to child's pose if you need to. And then inhale, look to your hands. Walk or step to the top of your mat, your choice. Inhale, lift up, halfway lengthen. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach your arms up over your head. Reach your fingertips up. And exhale, hands down by your sides. Okay, so we're going to do a couple things here for our hips. So first thing is just come down to your backs. If you have any kind of back issue, injury, condition, you can take one of your blocks or books that you have and place it underneath of your sacrum at the lowest height for a supported bridge pose. So you should feel completely supported by your block. Don't let your tailbone hang off the edge. You got to slide the block down a little bit. So this is option one if you have any kind of back pain that prevents you from doing a kind of bending in your back. Option two, if you have that block, you can put it between your inner upper thighs at the most narrow width. Option three, don't use any prop at all because that's fine too. Feet on the floor, knees bent. And even if you don't have a block, I want you to imagine that block between your thighs and you're pressing your thighs in towards the middle of your body. Arms down by your sides. Press your arms down into the floor. Press your feet down into the floor. On your next inhale, start to slowly tilt your tailbone up towards the backs of your knees and then start to lift your hips and then your chest. Going all the way up. So you're constantly lengthening your tailbone towards the backs of your knees as you lift your chest. And you're pressing your back ribs into your front ribs. Keep pressing your arms down. Keep looking up. Press your heels down into the floor. And think about sliding your feet towards your body. You're not actually doing that, but that's just like the action you're feeling in your feet. Good. Exhale, slowly come down one vertebrae at a time. Okay, so option 1 is to repeat that. Okay, so if you just want to do another bridge, you can do that. This is going to be a little bit more challenging, but it's a good, option for the hips. It's just, I'm going to actually demonstrate it first so you can see what I'm going to do. You're going to put one ankle over your knee, just like you would if you're doing like thread the needle, but your left foot's going to stay on the floor. You can either have your arms down by your sides, or you can grip the sides of your mat with your hand, which really helps too. Okay, your choice. You're going to press down into the foot that's on the floor, and you're going to do the same thing where you start to lift your hips, lift your chest. And then you're balancing, which is challenging in and of itself, and your bent leg is going out. So it's externally rotating your hip. And then you're coming down, okay? So that's an option. Or just stick with regular bridge, or do supported bridge, whatever feels better for you, okay? Knees bent, feet on the floor. Option 1, block under your hips. Option 2, regular bridge. Option 3, take your right ankle, place it over top of your left knee. So your leg is externally rotated with your ankle on your knee. Flex your right foot, arms down by your sides or gripping the sides of your mat. Press your arms down, press down into your left foot or both feet. Slowly start to lift your tailbone, lift your hips, lift your chest. Lengthen your tailbone towards the backs of your knees. Keep breathing. Keep breathing. And then exhale, slowly come down. Good. Place your right foot on the floor. We're just going to switch sides to the other side. Left ankle over your right knee. Flex your left foot. Arms down by your sides, or just repeating bridge pose. Press down into your right foot or both feet. And on your next inhale, press your arms down. Start to lift your hips up. Lengthen your tailbone towards the backs of your knees. Keep lifting. So again, you're not arching in your lower back. You don't want your tailbone pointing down. Really lift it up. Draw it towards the backs of your knees. Press your arms down. Breathe for 3, 2, 1. Slowly come down. Good. Place your left foot on the floor. Bring your feet to the outer edges of your mat. Just bring your knees into touch. And relax here for a few breaths. From here, bring your feet into hip bone distance apart. Bring your hands behind your knees. Slowly rock yourself up to sitting, or turn yourself over to one side. Press yourself up to sitting. We're going to go into frog pose. Okay, we're going to do this one of 2 ways. So option 1, actually we're going to do it just one way, and then we can modify if needed. So today what I want to do is similar to what we did lying on the floor, where our ankles and our feet are in line with our knees, okay? So what you're going to do is, I want your knees to come out as far as they can, and then you're going to line up your feet with your knees. If you want to untuck your toes, you can, or just leave them tucked under. And then from here, have your hands down the floor in front of you. And then you're just going to start to rock yourself forwards and backwards. So hips all the way back to your heels, and then coming as far forward as you can. Doing that a few times. And then when you do that a few times, come back to the center, line your hips up with your knees. Maybe you can spread your knees out a little bit further and wider apart, and then repeat a few times. But try to go slow. Don't go too fast. To make it a little bit easier to modify, you can bring your feet in a little bit. That makes it a little bit less intense. Or you can kick out to the sides like you were when you were lying down. After a few times, stop in the middle. Maybe you can go down further. Maybe not. And then when you're at a place where you feel like you can't go any further than that, pause in the middle. Knees line up with your hips. So it's like you were when you were lying down, but now you have both legs in this position. You can stay here with your hands on the floor. Or you can come down to your forearms. If your hips are all the way down on the floor and you want to lie flat, you can. Otherwise, just stay on your forearms. And we're just going to stay here for another 30 seconds. And then very slowly come back up to your hands. You can bring your feet together and bring your hips back. And then bring your knees together. Good. Take your feet out in front of you. Don't shake your legs or anything right now. And just bring your feet together. So you're in a bound angle or Baddha Konasana pose. Some people call it butterfly. So knees are out, feet together. Press your feet together. So press into your big toe mounds. And then place your hands right above your ankles on your shins and lift your chest up. Good. Keeping your sit bones grounded. Start to shift your weight forward. Keep your spine long at first. Then when you can't go forward anymore, go ahead and round over. Good. Inhale, slowly come up. Take your hands behind your knees. Use your hands to press your knees up. Straighten your legs out in front of you. Option one is to sit on a towel, a folded towel like so. That helps with any kind of round or back. Option two, you can kind of pick up your fleshy parts, draw them back. Keep a slight bend in your knee. That will lift you up a little bit. That is also very helpful. Flex your feet wherever you are. And think about, even if your knees are bent, you're thinking about pressing your thighs towards the floor, even if they're not really touching. Inhale, reach your arms up over your head. Exhale, shift your weight forward. Just place your hands to frame the outside of your legs. I don't want you to touch your feet right now. Lengthen your torso. And then your exhale, think about your rib cage going towards your toes. Walk your hands a little bit closer to your toes. And maybe you're up here, and that's fine. Okay? Maybe you're here. Maybe you're here. We're all in different places, and that's okay. Keep your feet flexed. Press your heels forward. Draw your toes back. Keep your spine long. And then you can go ahead and round over wherever you are. If you're all the way up here, just stay with a straight spine. The reason why I don't want you to touch your feet is because we like to pull on our feet. And really, this should come from your muscles and using your muscles to get your body where it naturally is going versus pulling on yourself and forcing it to go there. Good. Inhale, slowly come up. Bend your knees, place your feet on the floor. Grab on behind your thighs, slowly roll yourself down. Good. Take a happy baby pose, our final pose before Shavasana. Holding onto the edges of our feet, behind your thighs, whatever works for you. If you want to do thread the needle, that is also a very good option. Placing one ankle over your knee, drawing your knee in. If you're in happy baby, feet are parallel to the ceiling. Press your sacrum down. Relax your shoulders. If you're in thread the needle, go ahead and switch your feet. Place the other ankle over your knee. Draw your knee in, flex both your feet. Preparing ourselves for Shavasana. Slowly come out of that. Bring your legs down, bring your arms down. If you are at a wall and you would like to do legs up the wall, you can do that as well. Otherwise, just finding a comfortable position to lie in. You can put blocks underneath of your knees. Feels really good for your lower back. Rolled up towels under your knees feels good as well. Covering yourself with a blanket. But just finding stillness. Separating your legs a little bit wider than hip bone distance apart. Allowing your feet to hang open. Allowing your fingers to naturally curl. Just breathing normally through your nose. And slowly start to deepen your breathing. And wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes. And then slowly do some circles with your wrists and your ankles. And then switch directions and go the other direction. And then very slowly roll over to one side and pause there for a moment. And using your top hand, slowly press yourself up to sitting. And then come to any comfortable seated position at the top of your mat. And then once you're there, bring your hands together to heart center. And close your eyes. The light and love in me acknowledges and honors the light and love in every one of you. And we vow to complete our practice. Thank you. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me today. Happy Tuesday. I will be teaching another live class on Saturday morning at 10 a.m. It is a slow flow beginners class, so it goes a little bit slower. It's just a really nice way to start out the weekend once you get up in the morning. So yeah, 10 a.m. Saturday morning. If you're interested in doing Zoom yoga, whether for yourself, your kids, or for friends and family, we can totally do that as well. Feel free to message me and we can get that together as well. Hope y'all enjoy the rest of your week. I miss you guys. Love you all. Namaste.